Everyone's got a joke ready about your generation. Avocado toast, participation trophies, can't afford a house. Almost nobody's actually run the numbers on what you built instead. So let's run them. 10 specific, documented advantages millennial men are quietly running on, counting down to the one underneath all the others. 10. The self-teacher. You didn't learn your first real skills in a classroom. You learned them from a forum thread, a Wikipedia rabbit hole, a YouTube tutorial nobody assigned you. That habit of teaching yourself something nobody structured for you never went away. It just moved from Neopets to your actual career. 9. The portfolio advantage. You came up right as hiring started shifting away from what's your degree say toward what have you actually shipped. Freelance platforms, GitHub profiles, a folder of real work you can show instead of describe. That shift favors exactly the generation that grew up building things online for free, long before anyone paid for it. 8. The trust filter. You watched native advertising, sponsored content, and influencer marketing get invented in real time, and you learned to spot the seam. Nielsen's own research has consistently found people trust a stranger's honest review over a brand's paid message. Your generation grew up as the test subjects for that entire shift, which means you clocked it earlier than almost anyone. 7. The higher ed floor. Millennials hit the highest rate of completed higher education of any American generation at the same age, nearly 4 in 10 by some measures. Whatever you think about whether that degree was worth the debt, the floor it built underneath your options is real and it's higher than your parents'. 6. Running the room quietly. Since 2015, millennials have held roughly half of all managerial positions in the American workforce, and you're on track to be the largest share of it globally. Nobody hands you a headline for that. You just end up running the meeting. 5. 2 crashes, not 0. Gen X got hit once, in their 30s, and recovered. You got hit twice, 2008 while you were just starting out, and 2020 while you were mid-career trying to build back what the first one took. Nobody built a resilience seminar around surviving 2 hits instead of 1. You just did it anyway. 4. The deep reader. Despite the phone generation reputation, millennials read more than people expect. Surveys consistently find you're among the most likely of any living generation to have read a book in the past year, and among the heaviest users of public libraries. The stereotype and the data point in opposite directions. 3. Boredom immunity. You're the last generation who remembers a childhood with no infinite feed to open. Dial-up that tied up the phone line, a handful of channels, actual dead time with nothing scheduled in it. That baseline tolerance for unstructured silence is rarer now than people realize, and you never had to build it as an adult. It was already installed. 2. The privacy calibration. You're the only generation who lived through the entire arc. Anonymous early internet, then the exact moment it became permanent and searchable, in real time as a teenager. Older generations never fully absorbed that shift. Younger ones never knew anything else. You watch the door close and remember which side of it you were standing on. Hold on to that last one, because it's about to explain everything above it. 1. The foundational edge underneath all 9 of the others. You grew up the first generation raised partly by a screen before you were raised by a room full of adults. Instant messenger, then texting, then feeds. Years before you were even old enough to drive yourself anywhere. Every advantage on this list traces back to that one fact. Nobody was fully supervising how you learned any of it. So you learned to teach yourself, verify things yourself, and build your own credibility from scratch, because there was no other option on the table. That's not the story anyone tells about your generation. It's the actual one, and it's been sitting there the whole time, underneath the avocado toast joke, waiting for someone to run the numbers. So which of these 10 did you already know you had? And which one just landed for the first time? If one of these actually surprised you, say which number in the comments. And if you know a guy your age who still believes his own generation's punchline, send him this. He's probably been running half these advantages for years without ever getting the credit for them.